Hello, and welcome back to my cast. Today I'm going to be bringing you something fun, or at least fun-y, with the way the events have occurred. If any of you guys don't know who Day 9 is, I would highly suggest that you check him out. He is a former StarCraft Brood War professional player who now provides commentary for StarCraft 2. And he's got this thing called the Day 9 Daily, which basically he airs for about an hour, usually closer to about an hour and 15 minutes, pretty much every day. I think it's Sunday through Thursday or something like that, where he generally examines professional level gaming, and then he'll have special days like Tuesdays is Newbie Tuesday, and he'll help people that are in the like copper, silver, like the lower leagues. And then Mondays are the days what he calls Fun Day Mondays, where rather than taking a critical look at the game, it's just basically games of dicking around. And usually he will have he will put some kind of restraint on your game for you to submit, and I decided to go ahead and submit, or not. I haven't submitted this game yet, but I just played a game in order to submit this game, and the restriction was that you cannot expand on your side of the map. So this map is going to be Shakur's Plateau. Obviously, you can't spawn top and bottom, so any of my natural expansion is right here, and most of my expansions would be on the left side, because my opponent is going to be spawning over here or here, which is basically the right side. So anytime I make an expansion, it would be on the left side, his expansions would be on the right side, typically. And so in order to make the game fun, he does this, and so the restriction for today is going to be that I cannot expand onto my side of the map. And so we do have a Protoss versus Terran game over here. Me, of course, is going to be spawning as the red Protoss on the top left position, and we got Dizzy, the blue Terran player, spawning in the top right position. And once again, I'm casting this mostly because I found something very interesting with the outcome of this game. And so you will find out soon enough what that means. You'll see me that I'm kind of trolling over here, saying that it feels like a Monday, despite the fact that it's a Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. Not that my day actually felt like a Monday, but I'm trying to submit a video for Fun Day Monday. So I'm going to be finishing up my pylon, going to be boosting out my probes right after. Very standard. Dizzy going to be plopping down his supply depot close to his command center. And he's going to be plopping down a barracks, so nothing outside of the norm. Looks like Dizzy's going to be sending out his scouting SCV, and I was kind of late on my gateway production, but that's not a huge deal, unless Terran goes for this early aggression, which is generally not difficult to hold off anyway. So once again, I'm going to be sending out 2 probes. Once again, he's going to be spawning here or here, and the probe that doesn't find him is going to be hiding my tech. Once again, I'm going to be opening up Dark Templars. So here you see me taking my gas. Going to be taking a second gas as soon as, I believe, when the gateway finishes. And the timing, I've worked this out. It works out very well. I get my Zealot out, and as soon as my Zealot comes out, I can build a sentry, and it's quite nice. Feel free to steal if you happen to be a Protoss player. Now, I do come to his base, but I see that he's not mining any gas, and that does alert me a little bit. And I did click on his refinery to make sure that he hasn't harvested any so far as well, which led me to believe that rather than going for early aggression, he's probably going to go for a fast expand. Obviously, this isn't definitive, so I did want to send another probe in there, but I mean, I'm fairly confident with my opening that I can Oh shit, I forgot the production facility, or production stab. I'm fairly certain that, or I'm fairly confident that I can hold off early aggression from a Terran player, so not a huge deal. So, like, right there you can see that my sentry comes out as soon as the Zealot, or I have just enough gas to make my sentry as soon as my Zealot comes out. My probe is going to be looking at the Zelnaga tower, and see, he does open up for a 1 Rack's fastest man, but I didn't know this for sure because it is kind of weird to get this early gas but then not mine from it. I guess he was trying to like fake me out or something, but this is why I'm checking with my probe, and I do see that he's moving out with 3 Marines and an SCV, so I'm thinking that he's out here going to be building a bunker, or he's going to be looking to put out some early pressure with a bunker, you know, onto my ramp. So I do go ahead and check my Zelnaga tower to see if he does happen to move out, and he does move out with his Marines, but his Marines only. So I know for a fact that he's not, you know, moving out of his base. If he was, he would have brought that SCV that brought down. So I know that, you know, he's most likely going to be working on his expansion, which is great for me because I'm opening Dark Templars. Haha. So here comes my number 2 and number 3 gateways. And the timing for this is really nice. As soon as this cell comes out, my warp gate finishes. Very, very cool, in my opinion. So 3 Racks going to be coming down from our Terran player. Going to be mainarding some SCVs as he flies down his command center. Obviously going to be getting his expansion faster than I am because I have to first work on my Dark Templar tech before I plop down the Nexus. You'll see this probe going to be plopping down the proxy pylon. This is where I'll be warping in my Dark Templars from. Dark Strike now just started about a minute ago, so it's going to take a little while before he gets finished. I do want to move out just a little bit to secure the Zelnaga tower. Obviously, map control is a very vital part of the game. And you'll notice that I do plop down this Nexus into the natural because I'm so used to, you know, opening this way and taking my natural. And you'll see what happens with it later. In the meantime, looks like Dizzy's going to be working on his second bunker, and I remember I did say that, especially that game I casted with I Am Korean, that I did not want to move out because he could have finished his concussive shells. But that's only because I only had a Zealot and a Sentry at the time. I mean, 3 Zealots and 2 Sentries can easily make enough force fields so that the Marauder can't get away, so he can't kite me. So I'm not particularly worried about that. And here's going to be my Dark Templars. And he doesn't have detection, luckily, so I'm going to go ahead and harass. It's not a huge deal if my opponent happens to have detection anyway. It's mostly so that, you know, like, getting these worker kills is a big bonus. Having Dark Templars early just lets me have map control early. And so, like, you'll see right over here, I'm like, oh, fuck, I totally forgot that I'm supposed to not make a Nexus at my natural, I'm supposed to make it on the opposite side. So I'm like, alright, not a big deal, I'm gonna cancel the, if you actually go back, I waited basically till the last minute before actually, here, we'll go back to it, you know, like, the Nexus is basically finishing up. I noticed this as I'm checking, you know, my hotkeys, and I'm like, alright, I gotta mainard some probes, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I can't build it over here, I gotta cancel it, pretty much basically as it's coming up. I'm like, alright, you know what, I'm just gonna move mainard all my probes over here, because, you know, obviously, you know, at this point, I'm not necessarily even looking to win the game over here, I'm just looking to, you know, get casted onto his channel. But I do notice, you know, like, I don't want these probes to get spotted. And so I retake the Zelnaga tower, but then I realize that there's, I mean, he's still working on this Dark Templar that I have in his base, which, you know, that's his problem. But there is no way that he could have seen my probes over here, because he knows that I have Dark Templars on the field, and he's not going to be able to move out unless he's got a Raven, or he's got scans saved up on his orbitals. And up until even now, he's had to use scans for his base. So there's no way that he could have had any units in the middle of the map because he had to be back home, you know, defending. And so this hidden base is actually quite nice. It's actually quite nice because he does not suspect anything. And I mean, had he scanned over here, I mean that would be somewhat of a giveaway, but he won't notice for a really long time, which is actually quite nice. And now, because I have a Twilight Council and a Dark Shrine, it's very, very clear for me to work towards High Templars for my Tier 3 rather than Colossus, because I already have all the Tier 3 options for the Protoss player is going to be High Templars or going to be Colossus, both of which, you know, are good against Terran's Bio Ball and whatnot. And because I already have the Twilight Council and Dark Templars on the Dark Shrine, and I have, you know, all the necessary producing facilities of the gateways, it just makes a lot more sense for me to go for High Templars rather than Colossus, because Colossus would require a robotics facility and a robotics bay before I can turn out Colossus. And you'll actually see that as of right now, you know, my bases are split up at the very, very opposite ends of each base. And I am focused on gateway units, which is perfect. Now, think about it. If I had gone for Colossus, and these High Templars spawning over here are very purposeful, and I'll talk about it in just a second. Had I gone for Colossus, that would be really, really bad, because I need all my units in one ball, all in one centralized location. Whereas if I go for High Templars, I can warp in units anywhere on the map as long as I have a pylon there. And because I'm going for High Templars with mostly, I make mostly Zealots and High Templars, I'm able to produce a lot of units. And so I have a lot of units, and therefore I can produce a lot of units, which means I can have a lot of gateways, which means that regardless of where he attacks, whether that's my main or my expansion, I'm able to defend quite easily because I can reinforce wherever he's attacking with a ton of units. which I find to be quite nice. And it looks like he's actually going to be pushing out here with a Raven this time, and that's not really going to matter because I'm going to insta-feedback it. And then, you know, my Storm has finished already, so I'm waiting for him to engage in this little narrow corridor, and then I'm going to be storming him, and he gets pwned. Boom. Now, these two High Templars are very key to this game because obviously Terran players are able to drop and use medevac and all that jazz. And having High Templars is actually a very, very cheap way for me to be able to defend because they have Storm, and then that delays their push, and I can warp in units behind. And you'll actually see this happen in a little bit. And once again, I'm going to be taking my third, and it can't be over here on my left side, therefore it's got to be over here. And all this time, he still doesn't know that I have a base over here, and he's looking to build a base over here, but then he's going to notice that I have a base. And this is the point at which I move my army closer to my my expansion. So you'll see me moving out closer, because I know that his SCV sees my base. His army is likely to move out, and I don't want my base to get taken out, because it's got all my tech structures and my forges. And so, like, this is where I want to position my army, should he come here. But he also has the option of dropping over here, and this is where my two High Templars that I warped in a long time ago actually comes in, because they've been gathering energy and they have a lot of energy for Storm, etc., etc. And you'll see I still have control. I still have, you know, control of the Zonata towers. And if you take a look at the minimap, I pretty much have vision of the entire map. And I know that he's cornered right into this little area. If you go back to his side, he basically has, you know, no vision whatsoever, and he feels very, very cornered. And you'll see this drop going to be coming in, and I actually don't catch this in time. So I don't get to save these High Templars, but you'll see what happens in just a second. He's gonna be dropping over here, and gonna be moving his units up. And he did scan prior to coming here, so he only sends just a few Marines to take out my High Templars, which does suck. I do end up storming, but it doesn't take out anything. But this does buy me time for me to be able to work with Zealots. And then I can also work with lines because I've got a bunch of gateways coming up, and a bunch of gateways to stay here. So gotta be morphing in some Stalkers and Dark Templar. Very easy to clean up this drop. And meanwhile, I'm going to be attacking his base because I know his army is not going to be as big because he just used 2 medevac full of units to drop my main. So, I mean, at this point, there's no way that he can win because I'm on 3 bays and he's just lost his natural and his entire army. But I just wanted to showcase a match that I played just now, and I found it very, very cool that despite the fact that my bases are very, very far apart, I find it's actually easy for me to defend because I'm focusing so heavily on gateway units, and my opening actually complemented that very, very well. So this has been Andy, aka Ksight, and I'll catch you guys next time.